Thank you so much for joining us at Straight Outta Savannah, talking with Tammi, with my guest, Stevie Mills. She's going to share exactly who she is and what she does. Take it away, Stevie.
Hello, hello, hello. I am Dr. Stevii Aisha Mills. Super excited to be here. Yay! I help Christian women entrepreneurs attract their ideal clients that they love so that they can make six figures quickly in their business online and create a life that they absolutely love. So that's what I do. That's what I am. And above all else, they call me Just Stevie because I'm just myself.
Okay.
So.
All right. So share a little bit with us how you got to that point. What made you decide? What made you create this business?
Oh goodness. And it's still evolving.
Yes.
12 years. It will be October 21st, 2009.
Oh,
I
wow.
started my business. And I started out when I was stuck in corporate America, right? Actually, backing up a few moments before then, I first got out of grad school and I loved the job I got right out of grad school. I was working for a nonprofit organization. They walked me into the interview and they said, "Here's the grant. What will you do with it?" And so they must have liked what I told them because they hired me. And I was supposed to be there 3 months. That position lasted for 3 years.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, God is amazing. And when
Mhm.
it finally ran out, then what happened was I was like, okay, I have these degrees, and you think more money, more degrees, it kind of goes together, but it didn't for
Mhm.
me. It did. The money was there. I actually had big girl paychecks, benefits, and business cards. I call those the three B's, and the job just wasn't a great fit. I'm very much free spirited, and so I ended up feeling like a caged bird, and it ended up being really detrimental to my health. At the age of 30, I actually had three colonoscopies within 30 days, two within 24 hours. I had shingles, and I went from a size 14 to a size 0, all because of stress. Very quickly, very rapidly. So I knew I had to do something, and I was thinking I was allergic to jobs, right? So
You too.
I tell people all the time, listen, if I would have found a different job that did not do that first out the gate, I probably may not be here in business because that wasn't where I thought my life would be. So that's how I got into business.
That is powerful. That is powerful. So, what would you say if you had to speak to somebody that was in your position at that time? What would you say to them?
I remember calling my cousin, who's like my big brother, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so scared! Like quitting a job. That was the biggest thing I ever done to that point. So quitting a job, I was like, now I have quit jobs, of course, but then, so I would say, girl, you got this. Like honestly, girl, you got this. No matter what happens, it is gonna be okay. God's got you, and you got this.
That is awesome. I like that. I like that. I had to write that down. So, what type of women do you help? Do you have a specific um, avatar that you work with?
They definitely have to be Christian because we do call upon Jesus and we do pray. So, those are the people I actually go after. Of course, they don't have, I've helped all kinds of different people, even people who don't believe in Jesus. But by the time they leave my presence, they kind of believe in him. So they have to be open in that regard or understand that I do pray and I do call upon Jesus. Definitely they have to be driven. I think because my thing is, if you want to make six figures quickly, you have to be willing to put in the work. Last year, I made over $100,000, $107,000 in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, with
Mm.
most of it being between May and December.
Oh,
So for
wow.
me, it's like you got to be driven, you got to be ready to put in the work, and you got to be flexible. I
Hmm.
think you got to be creative, and because I teach women that there's no right or wrong way to run business. It's your business, run it like it is. So inside of that, just fun people, all kinds. But my clients are kind of varied, so it's not really an avatar. It's more like a heart-centered type thing
Yes,
that I believe in more so than looking a certain way or drinking this whatever juice, or some people get really deep inside of that, and I just have a heart condition that I look for.
that is awesome. Oh my gosh, that is so powerful. That is so
Thank you.
powerful because you don't hear that enough. People are, and it's funny because I've been in coaching programs and they're like, oh, well, you got to create this perfect avatar and, they need to look like this. And what are they driving? And what are they,
Yeah, yeah,
doing? What are they drinking? And I'm like, I feel the same way. And it's like, no, I need their heart to be right and them to be ready to make the changes that they need to make.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, that is so powerful and so cool. So, a typical session with you, how does that run?
It just it just depends. And I'm thinking about like my clients. I've done some one-on-one client work. I've done some group coaching as well. And it just depends because I am very much able to be chameleon like. So it's kind of like I had a session with a client today, and we were just talking and basking and chilling. And she just finished her last session after 90 days. And I asked her, I said, what has been the biggest thing that you got from this experience? And she said, it wasn't cookie cutter. It wasn't cookie cutter. So for me, that's like, I'll have one experience with her and then another experience with the next woman. So it's just whatever God needs me to do in that time with them. And
Mm.
truly, we start every session with prayer. I pray every session, and that was something that just picked up. And then the women were like, they love it, and we just invite the Holy Spirit inside the coaching session because I don't know everything. And I don't know everything that is supposed to be for them. So we invite God in, and He knows all things. So,
That it Oh wow, that's awesome. So you truly have a servant's heart. That's what I'm hearing. And
oh,
that is
thank you. Amen.
yes. So do you have family, children?
I don't have children. I'm the only oldest. So my dad, I'm his oldest, and my mama's only. So my parents are divorced, and I have grown into the best of both worlds. My mama's family is very small. We're all women. It's about 7 of us in that family. And there's one male who's my uncle, but that's it. That's it. And my daddy's family, he was one of 9,
Oh,
and each of those 9 had about average about 4 or 5 kids, and then
uh-huh.
those had kids.
Hmm.
So I've learned how to be the best of both worlds. So I think that helps for me to really relate to people and be a chameleon too, because I have all this duality in my life.
Yes, and it sounds like you are super intuitive too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Me
Yeah,
and
that
guys spend a lot of time talking about folks.
I understand. I'm telling you, yeah, I'm like that too. My parents, I think my mom, it was 10 of them. So I got all these first cousins, I don't know, 30, I think of us. We counted one time, and then we all had even more children than they did, because I think I have a cousin that has, I think, about 7 kids, and my brother has, I don't know, 6 or 7. I don't know, I'll stop counting. And so there's a lot of us too. Yeah. And it's wonderful when you have those big families, and then there's that other side.
But
The
you know
drama.
what? The funny thing about that is like, yeah, when times get tough, that person can talk all this stuff they want to, but family is family. We gonna whoever it is, we're gonna have your back. I can say whatever I want to about my cousins. They can say whatever they want to, but at the end of the day, we're family.
That's
So
right.
and my family's full of jokesters. So
I was gonna say it's like you jump right in. Everybody just
yeah.
starts, picking up. Oh, so and so we had this, and because I can remember one of my uncles passed away, and my mom just put out a post in our family group, and she was like, "Listen, so and so passed away. We need some money and blah blah blah,
Yep.
and we got to put them in the ground." And everybody just like we were just all, everybody was just throwing money, and
Yep.
they had everything that they needed. And I was
You
like,
do.
That's how that works. Just come together if we
Yes.
have to."
Yeah.
All right. So what do you see for your business and yourself in the for the future?
It's very interesting. God has me in a space right now where I'm kind of leaving entrepreneurism and turning more into ministry, which is very like I'm in the crux of it right now. So it's a call that my grandma put in my life. Like when I was a little kid, she said Steve will be a preacher, and that legacy. She's passed away now, but that's still coming to life. And I think I'm in a place now where I'm kind of accepting the call more so. So I'm in an interesting place right now where I see ministry coming through, and I see myself even being more with the ministerial people than I am with the entrepreneurial people. So
Oh, that's powerful.
yeah.
That is
I don't
powerful.
know. I don't know. I'm being open to wherever he's taking me.
Yes, that is the thing. Yes. Yeah, I had the same experience. My grandmother was a pastor, preacher, teacher, prophetess, evangelist type.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, she nurtured a lot of things in me. And God, she's in spirit. I miss her so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And people always like they'll say evangelist to me, and I'm like, my grandma was Evangelist Mills. That was that's not me. But so it's
Not
like
yet.
when I look at it, it's definitely like interesting. But I do know that, between evangelist, apostle, and prophet are the calls, the gifts that God is cultivating.
That's powerful. That is powerful. So you're going in the direction of ministry. Do you think that there's a way that you can merge that, or is that not
Yeah.
okay?
So God has me right now looking at a lot of Sarah Jakes Roberts and thinking of her. And so, TD Jakes, her father, definitely has done it very well. He definitely, because he
Yes,
has
he
the
has.
whole entrepreneurial side, he has the whole ministerial side. So I'm just looking at a lot of what she does, and you can definitely do that. And so I think that's what I had to come to in my mind to be able to say, yeah, you can, because I do have a gift for entrepreneurship. I never took an entrepreneurial business class, wasn't even thinking about entrepreneurship. So I know everything I've done in business, which is he's blessed me tremendously in business. But that was all through the grace of God. So I think that's ingrained in me. And then also, you know, so I don't know what we're cultivating, but I do know, even with my business name, Living the Life I Love LLC, for me, because I'm a visibility person, that was more so visibility helps for people to eradicate suicide. Because when you're visible, then we see you, we know you're here, we know we experience
Yes.
you, you're not forgotten or drawn or
Hmm.
withdrawn. So, yeah.
That is so powerful. Okay, so tell me about a client that you helped that maybe came to you and wasn't sure if they would be able to make their dream a reality. Can you share an instance of that?
Yeah, so one of my clients last year during the midst of pandemic was very, very, very interesting for me, because a lot of the women who were coming to me, they didn't know what to do. We all didn't know what to do. A lot of people have been running their business offline. For me, I've been running my business for the majority of it online, so it wasn't such a
Wasn't
pivot for
even a
me.
switch, right?
Yeah, so it was like, okay. A lot of women came towards, and I remember one woman who I had never met before. We sometimes don't even know how we met. She became a client of mine. And she actually told me that she made more money working with me than she had ever made in the totality of her business. So that's just how I'm able to help people kind of like really hone in on their business and monetize that instead of trying to follow a formula that doesn't exist.
That that is so powerful. It's almost music to my ears because I'm telling you, I had gotten so um done with all the people coming up, throwing, oh, I can help you make 10K months. And they weren't even making 10K months. And then
Yeah,
they were doing a cookie cutter thing that they got from somebody else. And, and everybody's just cut from the same, like those
yeah,
dolls
yeah,
that
yeah,
they cut
yeah,
out and they just,
yeah.
just all, yeah, that. And I was like, I actually talked about that today. I said, you got to do it how the Holy Spirit gives it to you.
Absolutely.
And you have to follow, what you know and not think about all those other people. My grandmother used to say, um, eat the meat and spit out the bones.
Yes.
You heard
Yes.
that before?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
try to do that because you can learn something from pretty much anybody, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I was talking about that the other day too. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of women, they try to do perfectionism, and God just gave it. He was like, perfectionism is a figment of the imagination. We'll
ooh,
neal never be able to arrive to perfectionism, which
say
is
that again for the people in the back.
perfectionism is a figment of our imagination. There's no perfect thing. And really, like perfectionism, procrastination, these are all forms of fear. At the very element of it is because we are fearful. So I can listen to people and diagnose fear in them very quickly because they mask it as these different things, but it's really fear.
It's like what's that other word that people are using? Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, yep.
I asked somebody one day, I said, what do that even mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely
What
a
do that even mean, right?
buzzword right now. Everybody is talking about that.
Yes, everywhere you turn, it's like, oh, I was suffering from imposter syndrome. I'm like, so do we all have to have a syndrome?
Yeah,
Can we have a happy syndrome or
yeah,
a
you're right.
healthy syndrome? Do we all have to have a syndrome? Is that what's blocking us? Or, I hear people say, I just had a block. And I'm like, I know about those, but at the element of it, just like you said, it's fear. Yeah. So how do you help someone to move past all of that stuff? The procrastination and the perfectionism and all that stuff, because those things we know that at the element of them that they're fear, but it's also real to that person.
It is, and I tend to take women through the journey of launching dirty. And I make it plain to them, honestly. I say, okay, so we could sit here and we could talk about this, but procrastination or perfectionism, even if you're trying to make like your lunch or whatever you're launching perfect, right? You're trying to do this. We don't even know if somebody's going to pay you for it. And you spend all this time. Think about all the time you're wasting that we're sitting here. But instead, like, I'd rather you just put it out there to the world and say, this is what I have. And if somebody wants to pre-order it, they have. So I make it very clear. And I think also because a lot of people have been able to see my journey. Like my 6 figures it just came last year. So a lot of my clients, they're able to see where I started out and now where I am. So those type of things, being a real life example to people, that kind of helps as well. Like, this is what I did. I'm telling you, there's no secret formula. This is what I did. So I think that helps because I'm a very real person. And the fact, these were my hurdles, these are the things I learned. This is, don't do this, go here. And that's why I tell people all the time that I may not be your first coach. I might be your second coach. You might have to go to somebody to help you with mindset or help you with confidence or help you with these intrinsic values.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm like, I am not that person. I can help you through that process because the Lord has blessed me with high confidence now through my journey, but I'm not necessarily, everybody can't be my client because I am somebody like, let's just do it. But there are people who are specific in the world to do confident coaching and mindset coaching and spiritual coaching. So even in my programs, I partner with a lot of different coaches because I know that there are women who need what I have, but don't need it yet. They still have some things they need to work out inside of them.
Oh God, that's awesome. That is awesome. So you have truly been blessed. Let me say that first. Just to be able to step into this place where you can impart to women. You do work mostly with women?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So not men at this time?
I've been going back and forth with this men thing. I mean, men could definitely come and they could learn and they could benefit, but I specifically go after women, but I have had males come and buy a book or be part of the experience. So that's just not who I go
That's
after.
not your
But men,
target.
Yeah, men have definitely been blessed by things.
So do you like to do mostly group programs or is
I do
one-on-one?
like group coaching.
Okay.
And I like group coaching because, for one, I always tell people I'm not the sharpest pencil in the box. There are other people who are here who you can learn from. And also, I think that when now that I'm working on scaling my business, it's a higher use of my time than me doing one on one coaching because one on one coaching isn't scalable. So I do like group coaching and I like community. I'm an extrovert. So I like being around other people. So kind of the work that I'm doing now is definitely more group.
Okay. When you set up your groups, how many people ideally are you wanting to work with at a time?
10 to 20, no
Okay.
more than 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think about that because I'm just getting into group work as well. And I actually was asking myself those questions. You know, how many
Yeah.
people can I energetically support? Because I am not an extrovert. I play one on Facebook and I play one on the podcast, but I'm not. I mean, I'm no, I don't even do people like that. So I'm like, okay, so how many can I energetically support? And I'm super empathic. You know, I
hmm
absorb everybody's stuff.
hmm
You know, and
And
I've
that's an important question because I'm empathic too, and that is, you got to be aware of that because especially when you have a group of people, depending on where they're coming from, how they're reacting to life, is yeah, that could be a lot.
yeah,
That could be, and that's
intense.
why I said, what I said about people and their energy coming. I can't be at my highest if I know that people have like fragmented issues. So that's why I have like on my coaching connections team, I have spiritual coach, mindset coach, personality coach, because I know that those are the steps I had to walk through to get myself together to be able to even become the woman to have the confidence to say, this is how much I charge. These are things that they're not my forte. I can help you because I've done it, but I'm not an expert in this. So let's get you the expert help so that as an impact, by the time you come to me, you would have kind of worked through this and shifted through this.
Oh, that is, you know what, powerful because so many people, so many people, I think about it like a buffet. You know, on a buffet, you got the meat, you got the vegetables, you got the rice and macaroni and cheese, you got the seafood, you know, you got the what do they do? The cut up the ham and
Yep, yep.
the carb, the roast and all that stuff. You got all those things, you know, but they're not all the same. You know, and I think about it in this coaching arena as well. There's so many people that try to put on all those hats and they need other people. You know,
Yeah.
everybody can't do everything. You know, and I think that is so amazing how you have come to that place where you have a team.
God is amazing. Like I always tell people I don't know about Beyonce, but I didn't wake up like this. It's taking some time. It's taking some energy. And I think I had to realize, one of my first books is called Cultivating Your It Factor. I had to wake up to what my it factor was and what I'm really genius at. It is not necessarily doing certain things, but God has gifted us all with certain gifts and talents, and really you'll be able to do more by doing less. And I think so many times people are afraid of competition, or we don't look at partnership, we don't realize or remember that we serve an abundant God, all the stuff. If we go in a spirit of abundance, then I can create a partnership with somebody because I might not be the right person. I would rather be a help than a detriment. I don't want to break nobody.
Yes.
And the fact, and some people can't take my personality because I'm very strong in personality. Some people can't
Yes.
take, and it's okay. It's
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So, when we realize that God will give us all that we need and more than we shall ever be able to think about, then it's not a money thing. It's like, okay, because when I wasn't awake to the fact of trusting God, because I had to come to realization one day, like, I don't trust God for myself. Like, I knew God was real, and I could trust him for you, but I couldn't trust him for me because I'm such a go-getter. It was hard for me to, like, I had to kind of like lay back and say, well, God, you got this. You know what I mean? Like,
I
God.
do. I know
So
it intensely.
yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. When I realized that, the moment I realized I don't trust God, then I was like, let me work on that because I want to trust God. So that
Yeah.
was the thing. Like, let me work on that. And then that's when my whole life changed, honestly, because I had to come to the fact and thank, shouts out to my coach, Dr. Marilyn Porter. She was amazing in the fact through a coaching session, I just realized that I don't trust God for myself. So when I realized that, I'm like, okay, God, this is what I need to work on, then it changed.
And now you can see that in your clients.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's powerful.
Hmm.
Okay, we're done now. That was a word right there for this whole thing. It's like, okay, yeah, I realized that I didn't trust God. The funny thing that you say that is the place that I got to. Even
Hmm.
though I have, believed in God my whole life,
Hmm.
and like I said, my grandmother was, everything. I call her, she was a spiritual dynamo, is what I said.
Yeah.
And I always knew that, but I think as you go through life and the things that you go through and some of the traumas that you experience and all this stuff, and then I think I had to get myself together past this place where I felt like I was praying so hard for my marriage, my
Hmm.
first marriage. This is my second marriage.
Hmm.
My first marriage, I was praying so hard for it, and I felt like God just didn't fix him. You
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
Like I was praying, and I mean, I don't know what else I was supposed to do. I was fasting, I was praying, I was meditating, I was doing everything.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I was like, okay. And so I think there was a place in my mind, and not in the surface, in the deeper mind, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
where I thought, well, if God didn't do that, then maybe I
Hmm.
need to, just
Hmm.
do some things and work some things out, and so that's what I did. And then I got to this place. Matter of fact, just a few months ago, I was sitting, with my notebook,
Hmm.
saying, okay, let me get to the root of this and see what is going on inside of me. And I started getting to the root of that very same thing.
Hmm.
You believe in God, you love God, but you don't trust him,
Hmm.
And so I was like, okay. And so I had to, deal with that myself. So that was, to me, that was the most powerful thing. Because the thing is, I didn't feel like you could love God and know God without trusting him,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
So that was just powerful. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, final words.
I love this experience. It was amazing. I love this conversation. And the final words I would say is just, if for me, what I've been telling my clients is that if God never gave you another strategy, right? Another thing, because we already have the strategy. What if you look back over your life? I'm sure what you were doing now is what you were doing all your life. Like there's some commonalities inside of it. And so he already gave it to us. We just try to run around with a dog chasing his tail, trying to figure out what more. And there literally is nothing more. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, millionaire status, right? If God doesn't need you to do anything for you to become a millionaire, he could just bless you with $1 million. You don't have to do anything. So just get real clear on focusing on the relationship you have with God so that these things can come towards you and you can be in a place that you have cultivated a relationship that you hear God say. If he says go left, you don't question it, you go left and you do it because you never know what's going to be at the end of that. So just the space I am in my life right now is just telling people, listen, just wake up to what God has told you to do. Because honestly, and I think that's the transition I'm going through from business, because I'm like, it doesn't take all that. I understand because I have a PR background. I understand how to change things and make it look a certain way, but at the end of the day, we in business have done people a disservice. And that's another reason I didn't want to be a coach at first, because I believe that coaching was also a form of idolatry, because there are a lot of worship going on with coaches, and I didn't want to do that. So I had to come to myself in order to be a coach. And so, a lot of the things that God has shown me in business now over the 12 years almost that I've spent here in this industry, um, I'm now like, okay, it doesn't take all that. You really literally don't need all these. You don't have to keep investing, and not making money. Like, who does that? But people are conditioned
Lots of
to that.
people.
I know. People are conditioned to that. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, that's something that we think, and even myself. So I'm now on a crusade almost that, like, okay, let's just make this easier. My clients laugh because I say all you need is a flyer and a link. You don't need all this other stuff y'all buying. You just need a flyer to tell people what you have and a link for them to pay you. And they laugh all the time because I simplify a lot of stuff. But I think that at the end of the day, we just got to get on our Father's business. And I think that's the agenda that I'm on now, more so than any other thing. And so I'll let you know how it turns out, because this is very new for me, but I know this is what God has for me to tell people. So
That is that is most powerful, because that is, I think that must be what his agenda is, because that's exactly what I said today. And I'm telling you, he woke me up because I work night shift, right?
mm-hmm,
So I a lot of times sleep in the daytime. And
mm-hmm,
even when I'm not working, because as I've gotten older, my body doesn't flip like that like it used
mm-hmm.
to anymore. I used to be able to work my nights and then get back and be on a regular schedule like everybody. And
Yep,
but my body don't always do it. Sometimes I can't sleep at night, so then I have to sleep in the day because I got to sleep,
yeah,
and so step back and give my body some grace, because I was like trying to push it, and
yeah,
I was
yeah,
missing meetings. And so
yeah,
now you see what my schedule looks like. I don't even start stuff till late in the afternoon,
yeah,
because I already
yeah,
know
yeah,
I'm not gonna make those 10 o'clock meetings. I'm just not.
yeah, yeah. And
But
that's the thing. We got to know that by ourselves.
yeah, exactly. So let everybody know how they can reach out to you, how they can connect with you if they want to, inquire about your services and that kind of thing.
Awesome. Well, I always tell people to download my first book. I love giving away this book. It's called Cultivating Your It Factor. It really is the book I wish I would have had while I was stuck on the job I hated. And so when that book came out back in 2015, Lala Anthony was number one, and she swiftly moved to number two. So God's hand is on this book. Yeah.
Well,
So
how many?
what'd you say?
I said, how many books have you written?
23, about to be 24, 25. I
4
think by
books?
end of this. So I've done a lot of anthologies. My first book was an anthology that I produced, which, kind of that's not the way they traditionally do it, but that was what I did. So I've written in books and produced books and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, so that book is at cultivatingyouritfactor.com. Again, cultivatingyouritfactor.com. And I would love for you all to have it. It's an anthology that has blessed my life all these years. So
Okay, so send it to me so I can include the link in the description of the video.
awesome.
Okay, so the video is going to be on. Um, oh, we'll talk about that later. Okay, all right. So thank you so much for joining me, Dr. Stevie Mills. I'm so excited that you decided to grace my presence.
Yay.
And I'm so excited that you are here. And it sounds like you are doing amazing things. And I know that God's hand is on you. And I just so much appreciate the fact that you came out on Straight Out of Savannah talking with Tammi.
Yay. Thank you, Tammi. It's been amazing.
You're
It's
so
been
welcome.
amazing.